I don't review a lot of TV on this channel besides what I did with Game of Thrones, which was watching the entire series within a month or two, and then I reviewed The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, which I absolutely loved, one of my favorite TV shows of all time, or at least that individual season was just incredible. And now Stranger Things, I have been in love with this show ever since the first season came out, and season 3 is finally here. Like, I love the first season. Season 2 is really solid, and this season honestly rivals the first season for me as my favorites. I absolutely loved Stranger Things 3. It is incredible from the beginning to end. What Stranger Things really became known for when it first came out was all the 80s nostalgia, and this movie is not short of any of that. This movie is extremely nostalgic for a bunch of 80s stuff, especially like Back to the Future and certain things around the year 1985 in which this season takes place, but it is also extremely nostalgic to the previous 2 seasons and the way that they kind of utilize the storylines that happened in the first season, how they kind of flash back to it, or even events in the second season. So this entire season was just a lot of nostalgia for a lot of different things, and I loved how they incorporated different storylines from the past into this current storyline that they're working with. And what I think is very special about this season over the past 2 seasons is its themes of relationships, whether that is the actual love stories or just the friendships that this show has been absolutely known for, of those 4 main kids from the first season. This show really does a good job at pairing certain characters together and then really learning and evolving with each other to new levels. Instead of where they were at the end of the season 2, it kind of stuck with those same groups and just extended that to some excellent, just emotionally great points. And that is why you watch this show. You watch it for all of these great characters: Mike, Eleven, Dustin, Lucas, Hopper, Joyce, all of them. I love all of these characters. And 2 characters that especially stood out to me, one is actually a brand new character to this series, is Steve and Robin. I loved these characters. And Robin is honestly probably my favorite character they've added since season 1. And I thought their entire chemistry and relationship and storyline throughout this entire movie is incredible. I loved how it ended. I loved how they just maneuvered these 2 throughout the entire season with these different characters, with Dustin and Lucas' sister. I can't remember her name off the top, or Erica. I loved those 4 together, and these pairings are really what stands out in this season over the others. And of course, you got the pairing once again of Joyce and Hopper, which I think this season actually stands out most out of all 3, because what they do with these 2 characters is incredible up until the very end. I loved how they brought these 2 characters together once again, and how their past really impacted where they are currently, and how their 2 storylines kind of cross path, and the bickering they have between each other is just perfect. And if you can really say that about every single pairing they do throughout the entire season, whether it's Eleven and Mike, those 2, and they're even what's her name, Max and Lucas, every single duo in this show this season is incredible. And the way that they used the characters past, you really feel like these characters have lived in this world forever, for their entire lifetime, and it just fits so well together. And the way they weave these characters and their storylines is just excellent in this season. And what Stranger Things is kind of known for is having all these different characters and all these different storylines all converge to the very end. And I thought the way this season wraps up is just fantastic. I loved the final episode of this season. I think it's my favorite episode of Stranger Things, period. I think it is just, it's funny, it's exciting, it's very thrilling, and just so satisfying how it ends, but it's also extremely heartbreaking. And the last 30 minutes of this season is perfect. I loved the finale of the show and how they wrapped it up, and I don't know how I know they're doing a season 4, so just know that there is more after this, but I think they really wrapped it up so perfectly. And this season just really, from beginning to end, I think it just flows so well and so much better than season 2. Even though I really love season 2, this one just worked extremely well for me. And let's not forget, this show is called Stranger Things. There are some strange things that happen in this show, and the monsters in this season from the Upside Down really stood out to me. Once again, we have that one douchebag, Billy, who is in this season from season 2, and this time they really give him a reason to kind of be a jerk throughout the entire thing, but they really dig into his past and kind of why he is the way he is. And I thought they really did a great job at explaining his character towards the end, and I love what they did with him, more so than I did the second season. I do think he's not the greatest character, and some of the things he does is a bit insane, but you know what, I thought it worked better in this season than it did in season 2. Now, the season is not perfect. Like everything, there is no such thing as a perfect movie or TV show. This season has a subplot with Russians that I don't think is as deep as it could have. They could have really twisted it and had fun with that storyline, but it's pretty stereotypical, but the way that they incorporate it is interesting enough, and there's this Russian presence really was only there to kind of spark the Upside Down once again. And I don't want to get it too much into it, but I did not love everything about it. But there was this one character that I think everybody's going to talk about coming out of this storyline that I absolutely loved, and I think everybody loved. But I think that's probably the weakest part of this season, even though I think that it served the story very well. I just think they could have kind of delved deeper and kind of made it more unique and interesting for the show, although it just feels very stereotypical Russian evil storyline, which is unfortunate, but it is a different take than the normal Hawkins laboratory that they've been doing the past 2 seasons. So it's a nice fresh spin on that, but it still does feel very generic. And finally, the first 2 episodes are very much just following around the lives of all these characters after the events of season 2 and just kind of following them around. The plot doesn't really kick in until the end of episode 1, and this development that they do at the beginning of the first 2 episodes is very, very important. I love that they have all of that, but it really does take a minute to build, and by the time it gets to the end, the last 6 episodes are full on Stranger Things. It's nuts, and I loved every second of it. But those first 2 episodes, I can see how some people can come out of it saying it was a bit slow, although I thought it was some excellent character development and how they kind of split these characters into their duos. And there are several loose ends that they don't explain by the end of the season that I'm not really confused by, but I think it's kind of like a Barb situation. I don't want to get too much into it yet again, because obviously spoilers is a non-spoiler review, but there are some loose ends that are kind of bothering me, but I have faith in the Duffer brothers that they will get back into it with the 4th season, and hopefully maybe even final season. I know they're talking about either a season 4 ending or a season 5. I think they could go on for quite a while more if they can keep it fresh like this season. I think this is probably one of the best seasons yet. I can't decide between 1 and 3. Don't ask me to rank them. I know 2 is at the bottom, but I love this show. I don't think you can go wrong with Stranger Things, any of the 3 seasons. I bet you guys will all love this season. I binged it in a day. I absolutely loved it. Hopefully you guys all check it out. If you haven't checked out the show, check out this show. It's basically like, I have the poster Super 8 up because that is one of my favorite movies. It's a bunch of kids having a fun adventure with some crazy sci-fi horror stuff, and I absolutely love it. This show is fantastic. Go check it out on Netflix. Just released on July 4th. Watch this season. Watch all 3 seasons in a row. Binge it all. I love this show, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel to see more content. If you want to see more of me talk about Stranger Things, a spoiler review, if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below. Or if you just want to let me know your thoughts, comment below that as well. So thanks guys for watching, and I hope to see you all in my next review.